Okay, pause YouTube, aka what's up YouTube. So first and foremost, let me get two things out of the way. I apologize that this is going up a couple days late. I had to play this when I was off work and not anywhere near my computer until Sunday when I played week 7. So yeah, apologize about this being late. And then also this is going to be post commentated from my my opponent's point of view, because again, I wasn't at my PC, so he was nice enough to send me his side of the battle. Check him out. We are facing Frosty Random, say it with me, another opponent we have never played before. His channel link will be down below, so definitely check him out. If you guys want to skip to the battle, then timestamp will be somewhere. So shout out to the front office homies for helping me out for this match. Now, if you guys might have missed our previous game, we are on the board finally. We are 1-3. We started 0-3. We got one win. Unfortunately, we might have to win out the season to have a chance to make it into playoffs. So hopefully we can make it, and we still have a chance to take a championship. So we'll see how that goes. Now, looking at this matchup, Frosty has a very interesting draft. He made a lot of trades right before. So scary things are definitely going to be his Terra captains. Sandy Shocks, regardless of the Terra, is problematic. In mocks, it was a giant issue. And then low kicks. Low kicks does so much damage. Like, it's ridiculous how much damage it does. So yeah, that thing's a problem. And then his offense between the Bird, Sin, Durace, his Terra captains, and Lycan Dusk is super annoying. He's got some pretty good fat in Sylveon, Chestnut, Pecharunt, Registeel, and Milotic. And then there's a Furt, because it's cute, I guess. Hopefully we can win, though. So our first team member here is going to be a bit of a change-up. We are actually not bringing Deoxys speed at all. So our first mon here is going to be a Horsepower, aka Iron Boulder. I know you see the Terra Dragon. It was to be neutral or resist hits from the mons I mostly expected. I don't expect the Bird, Furt, or Milotic. Those three I really don't think have any merit to come to this match, and then the other mons could come interchangeably. Sylveon, maybe hit or miss, but we don't really have the best fairy resist. So yeah, Terra Dragon was just to mainly just resist or be neutral to whatever super effective hits he might have had against us. Between not substitute. I had substitute, then I changed it to Sword Dance. Protect is nice for first impression. If he doesn't have Sucker Punch, that's great. Then if this does get the booster off with the Sword Dance, pretty much just murders his entire team. Next up, we have a mixed defensive Jirachi here, which with the Colbur Berry is able to eat a hit from the low kicks, which is nice. And then this is also able to gain us momentum. Psychic Noise is amazing for his bulk because we're able to stop them from wishing and self-healing, so that's going to be pretty nice. And then all three offensive moves hit his entire squad for some good damage. Next off, we have Sinish Orchata with the Colbur Berry, because I am deathly terrified of the low kicks if it does Terra. With the Colbur Berry, we're able to eat a hit, and then from there either knock him out or maybe try and get a burn with Scald or Matcha Gacha. I'm very terrified of low kicks, whether it's Terra low kicks or Terra Sandy, I was gonna say Sandy Geist, Sand, then it's a problem. Then making her debut, we have Chiquita, aka the Rotom fan. Terra Fairy, mostly physically defensive. This is gonna always more than likely be my switch into low kicks. If it's not pads, then hopefully hazards can wear it down. If it's boots, then helmet can wear it down, and then we just put it in range of where we can revenge kill it. And speaking of hazards, we have Ting-lu, which I was really mixed on bringing or not, but with the weakness policy, we're not as passive as we would be. So my hope is to get a Brox, have him pop weakness policy, and then we get the +2 attack, and we can try and take something down with us. So yeah, hopefully this can do some work. It's pretty hard for him to beat this 1v1 without hitting it super effectively. So I think there's a good chance he'll pop our weakness policy. And then finally, we have Andreas, aka Urshifu. I was in between either Muscle Band or Punching Glove, and I like the extra power boost that Muscle Band gives Aerial Ace and Close Combat, because at +2 we literally just nuke everything that we can outspeed. So yeah, we didn't really need a lot of speed. I think I did have a bit more of a speedy version, but I figured the little bit of bulk would be nice in case we got to take a special hit from like the Pecharunt, I guess, or maybe like a neutral hit from Sandygeist, I suppose. Why do I keep saying Sandygeist? Shocking Sands. Sandy Shocks? Shock Sands? The Magneton looking thing. So that's our squad. Let's get into the battle. Okay, pause YouTube. Okay, what's up YouTube? So if you guys missed the team builder, two quick things. Apologize for this being up late. When I played this, I was not at my computer, and I haven't really been at my computer in the past few days too much. And that being said, this was from my opponent's perspective because not on my PC, so check him out. We are facing Frosty Random. His channel link will be down below, so if you guys are excited for this, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, and hopefully we can get another W after finally winning week 4. So we are sitting at 1-3 going into this matchup. He brought the 6 of the 7 or 8 mons I expected him to bring. No Milotic is not surprising. No Sylveon was nice to see, but he does have a very scary offense in his top 4 mons: the Cinderace, Terra Lokix, Lycan Dusk, and the Sandy Shocks, and then Pecharunt and Chestnut could be annoying depending on the sets that they are running. So regardless, my game plan going into this match was to most likely just lead Rotom because it pairs up pretty good against the mons that he decided to bring. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into this. So hopefully this is not going to be going too fast. I kind of doubled the speed because the actual battle was like 30 minutes long and I didn't want to commentate the whole thing. So he ends up leading off with the Shandy Socks. As expected, I did see this in mocks. We are Terra Fairy, so we don't really need to fear too much that he wanted to bring because he did turn out to be Terra Fairy Sandy Shocks, and he was Terra Bug Lokix, if I'm not mistaken. So obviously I don't know any of the items that he's running. I'm figuring that he most likely is going to get up a spike or try to Terra here. I thought about going for the Terra of my own, but I figured hard switching into Ting-lu to try and get up my hazards and hopefully have him proc my weakness policy so I can start doing some damage after getting up rocks was the best thing to do. As he ends up going for the Volt Switch, turns out that he's choiced. I don't find that out until like later in the match. I think I kind of pieced it together that maybe he was choice, but I thought he would be choice specs. So he switches right into the Chestnut. This thing is a problem. I'm thinking he might just want to go for Lair Spikes or maybe the knockoff, predicting my switch into Sinistcha, as I do bring it in here because this is my best answer for it. Unfortunately, because of Chestnut's ability in Bulletproof, it does block Shadow Ball. So as he went for sub here, I was a little bit concerned that Hex wouldn't be able to break the substitute. Thankfully though, it is able to break the sub. However though, he's faster than me and he turns out to be bulk up. So those are two very, very problematic things here. So hoping that he doesn't try to sub here, I think I go for the Matcha Gotcha or I go for the Scald. I was debating on whether or not I wanted to be aggressive or try and go for the Strain Zap on the off chance that maybe he did go for an offensive move, but I was a little scared that he would try to sub again. So he does Shadow Claw. I don't get a burn with the Matcha Gotcha, which is a little bit unfortunate. So I'm going to switch out here, expecting him to just go for the Matcha Gotcha. Just go for the Shadow Claw again as I switch into my Rotom fan. Now, in all honesty, I completely forgot about the fact that I did not have Air Slash on my Rotom fan. So I was hoping to try and not Terra this if I didn't need to. Unfortunately, I don't have any super effective move to hit him outside of me going for my Terra and having Terra Blast Fairy. So I'm forced to go for the Terra Blast here as we do easily break the sub. As he goes for the Drain Punch, he finds out that we are Rocky Helmet, which is good because he's not doing entirely too much damage to us, because I do need to try and keep this Rotom around for the low kicks because that thing hits ridiculously hard. Like, I was aware that low kicks hit hard, but my jaw dropped by just how much damage it really does. That thing is a giant problem. So I think I go for the Discharge here, thinking that he would either stay in so I can knock him out, or he would switch into something like the Pecharunt. But he ends up making a good switch here into the Sandy Shocks, which is really annoying because I could have at least got some damage off with the Terra Blast Fairy, which I guess in hindsight I probably should have just gone for that in general. There is a chance that the Pecharunt is faster than me, so on the off chance that he did bring that in and I was able to catch it with the discharge, I could have maybe got a pair on it. So I double out here as he switches into the Cinderace. I thought that he would bring in the Pecharunt, I believe, but he catches me on my Jirachi switch in with the Cinderace, and I make a really questionable play by staying in, because if he was adamant, he did have a chance to knock us out with one hit. I think it was like 18% chance if I remember the calc correctly, which I checked after this. He is adamant. He didn't get the roll, which is nice, so we at least still keep Rachi around to kind of get some use. Unfortunately though, that does mean the Pecharunt is a little bit more annoying, because Jirachi was one of my ways to deal with it. As I U-turn into my Urshifu here, I don't have U-turn, so I'm going to pull a double, expecting him to switch out, fearing me being scarfed. And I bring back in my Rotom as I catch the incoming Chestnut. We are going to be able to knock it out with the Terra Blast, which is nice because now with this being gone, it means that my my Ting-lu and my Boulder are going to be able to put in some good work here. But I do need to be careful with the first impression and Sucker Punch from the low kicks. And obviously at this point, I don't know that the Cinderace has Sucker Punch, so I'm more concerned about the low kicks just coming in and clicking a button. As it turns out that he's got boots on the Pecharunt because he brought this in on my Rotom. I'm thinking, okay, he's probably faster than me, so I don't want to stay in and take a potential Malignant Chain. So I try to be a little bit cheeky here and switch directly into my Jirachi. I guess he could have gone for T-Spikes. I think Pecharunt gets T-Spikes, if I'm not mistaken. Or he could have gone for Toxic, expecting me to bring in my Ting-lu. But he does go for the safe play in the Nightshade, as he gets rid of our Jirachi, and you're going to see that this Pecharunt is such a giant problem. So it turns out that he's got the Parting Shot, which I was not expecting at all, and I believe I do just click Earthquake here because I knew that I need to get damage off on the Pecharunt as we catch the incoming low kicks. Turns out that he's not bootsed, which is amazing, so there's a chance that maybe he could be protective pads, so I am a little bit concerned about that. But regardless, my best switch into this is my mostly physically defensive Terra Fairy Rocky Helmet Rotom fan, as he does go for the Terra here, and Jesus, that's a resisted hit. I know it has Tinted Lens, but still, that does so much damage. And as you guys saw, he's is it Silver Powder, the item that boosts bug damaging moves? So he's not pads, which is great because now we're going to be able to kind of wear him down between rocks and Rocky Helmet, and that's amazing because again, that thing is a giant problem. So I believe I do go for the Terra Blast this time, as we are able to catch the incoming Sandy Shocks. And at this point, the way he was playing it, I was kind of figuring maybe he is choice in some way. Again, I'm just thinking he's choice specs. So regardless, my best switch into this is my Ting-lu, because I 100% eat anything that he wants to go for, because he didn't Terra into Terra Fairy, as he just fires off a raw Terra Blast, which is a little bit risky because I do have Sinistcha on the back, but I guess I do want to prevent him from just Volt Switching for free. So he does get off some damage on my Ting-lu, and I go for the Heavy Slam in case he wanted to try to bring back in the low kicks, but he does make an aggressive play here into the Poison type on my Ground type. And not only that, he gets the Poison with Malignant Chain, and you're going to see that this Earthquake does nothing. Oh my Arceus, this thing was such a problem, man. Malignant Chain with Pecharunt's ability confusing us is really annoying, because I can't risk staying in here, because if I do stay in, not only is he going to get Nightshade damage or a free recovery if I hit myself, then at that point I lose one of my main ways of hitting this Pecharunt for super effective damage. So I switch into my Rotom, expecting him to want to go for the recover, or maybe if he wanted a Parting Shot for some reason, but I figured he wouldn't go for an offensive move there. And now I need to kind of more or less risk potentially outspeeding him or him outspeeding me. Luckily, he is not faster than me, and we are able to get off a little bit of chip with the Volt Switch as I bring back in my Ting-lu as he goes for the Malignant Chain, which luckily does 0 damage, but he still has his poison because he did get that 50% earlier on. And as you saw, he has the Nightshade, so he's going to be doing 100% damage on top of the toxic damage on us, guaranteed. So at this point, the only thing I can do is just try and beat this thing down to the point where I can bring something else to hopefully revenge kill it. But because this Pecharunt actually turned out to be max defense, max HP, it's going to be eating any physical hit, and all my special mons are not able to hit it that well, unfortunately, which funnily enough, the best way I do have to deal with this is to now bring in my Urshifu. We are muscle band adamant, and I need to just go for the aggressive surging strikes. He doesn't have a switch into this. He's basically forced to stay in or sack something off. So I'm hoping that if he does go for the Malignant Chain, that he doesn't get the poison on us, because in that way we avoid potentially hitting ourselves in confusion. Or if he does get the poison, we are going to get confused and hopefully we don't hit ourselves. And then at this point, I was just kind of stressing. I'm like, if I don't get rid of this right now with my Urshifu, then it can literally just 1v1 the remainder of my team. It outspeeds my Sinistcha. It takes any hit from Boulder and from Rotom Fan, so I need to just be aggressive. I thought about maybe going for Swords Dance, but I really didn't want to risk it in case he did get a poison with the Malignant Chain, and I did have to stay in. Luckily, as you saw there, he goes for it, doesn't get the poison, which means he doesn't get the confusion. We don't have to worry about hitting ourselves, and down goes the Pecharunt. This thing took down a Ting-lu. That is ridiculous, man. Pecharunt is so nasty bulky. I really do want to draft this sometime in the future. So down goes the Pecharunt as he brings in the low kicks. I'm not sure why he brought this in instead of the Sandy Shock. Maybe he thought I would have Aqua Jet, which is fair if he wasn't expecting this to be choiced. So I just sack off my Rotom at this point. We've been able to chip down low kicks really low. I think it was in range of Stealth Rocks at this point. So I'm going to be able to bring something else in here to revenge kill it, which the only real thing I have is my Urshifu, which we should be faster than this because I don't think it should be running a lot of speed. At least in the mocks that I had, it didn't have a lot of speed. It did have some good bulk, and judging from the damage that Ting-lu's Earthquake did earlier, even at -1, it did show that he had some type of HP investment. So I'm figuring I should be able to just outspeed him as he goes for the Sucker Punch, which funnily enough, he showed me his spread afterwards and he was actually faster than my Urshifu. So if he did feel like going for Leech Life, I think he might have actually knocked us out. So thankfully, we don't got to worry about that. As he brings back in the Sandy Shocks, I don't have Aqua Jet, which kind of sucks because in this instance it definitely would have helped. We might have actually been able to knock him out, which would have been great, but we're forced to sack off the Urshifu at this point. It doesn't really do anything. I don't outspeed anything that he's got left, so while he is able to knock us out, we are going to be able to get switch initiative here as in comes the Cinderace. And I'm debating, do I want to bring in my Sinistcha or do I want to bring in my Iron Boulder? If he does not have the Sucker Punch, I figured Horsepower here would be my best switch in, because he might just go for the U-turn and we are going to be able to knock him out with the Mighty Cleave if he doesn't have the Sucker Punch. Unfortunately, he turns out to have the Sucker Punch, which was really frustrating because I considered going for Swords Dance. Like, I was so close to going for Swords Dance instead of just going straight for the Mighty Cleave, because I guess in reality I didn't lose much in going for Swords Dance, and I could have scouted for the Sucker Punch, because even if he went for U-turn, we live any hit, and whatever comes in, we knock it out. So at this point, I'm trying to play the mind games of Sucker Punch. Is he gonna Sucker Punch? Is he not gonna Sucker Punch? I outspeed him. I'm a +2. I Swords Dance, and I do believe I end up revealing the fact that I have the Protect. And if you guys watch his side of the battle, he was also trying to debate whether or not he wanted to Sucker Punch right away. And yeah, at this point, I'm trying to figure out if I still have a chance to win this. I still don't know what the item on the Lycan Dusk was at this point in the game. So if he does knock out my Boulder, then it's Sinistcha against the world. And unfortunately, he finally doesn't Sucker Punch and he knocks us out with the U-turn. So at this point, it's a 1v3 with Sinistcha as our final team member. And there is a chance we might be able to pull it out here because we know the Sandy Shocks can't touch us. And after checking calcs, even Adamant Cinderace can't do much damage to my Sinistcha. My biggest fear though is that he gets a defense drop, as he does turn out to have the crunch on the Lycan Rock. So no defense drop. We're able to get back up to full HP thanks to Strength Zap. Now he is on -1 attack as he goes for the crunch. Again, no defense drop. We hit the Macha Gacha, knock out the Lycan Rock, and now it is 1v2. Again, we beat Sandy Shocks pretty easily, and we should be able to deal with the Cinderace accordingly. as well. So on the off chance that he does crit us, I decide to just be safe and go for the strain zap. This way we also don't risk potentially missing or for some reason being put in range of where Sandy Shocks can knock us out as he goes for the U-turn here. And I do believe I just go for the strain zap again because I really didn't lose anything in doing so. Even if he brings in Sandy Shocks, worst case scenario, he goes for discharge and he paralyzes us, which unless we got super unlucky back-to-back turns with full paralysis, then I don't know, multiple full paras back-to-back, then that's the only way he probably would have been able to win the match at this point. So even if he is adamant, max attack, and gets a crit pyro ball, he never knocks us out at this range of HP. So all we got to do is just click a move that is not Matcha Gotcha, which we do have Scald, so I'm 100% going for Scald here because I don't want to risk a miss, and then he goes for Sucker Punch, he resists Hex. So Scald is able to knock out the Cinderace, and Sinistral pulls out a 1v3 for another victory for us. So now we are sitting at 2-3, and we are keeping the playoff dream alive as well as a championship dream alive. So next week we are taking on Ellie. I haven't played her in years, so hopefully we can get another victory on that. And that game will definitely be live commentated because I've already done the game. So hopefully we can win that game. Then that'll put us 3-3, and then we just have to win out the season to make it to playoffs and win out in playoffs, and we can get the championship. So thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, leave a comment. Again, I apologize that this is so late and that this was post-commentated from my opponent's point of view, but big thanks to Frosty Random for being able to work with me here and send me his side of our battle. Check him out, and with that being said, I will see you all next week. So thank you all for watching. Later, everybody.